But I think women are often afraid of men's anger, and I think we don't understand it. I had a male write in. I have an article in the latest issue of Psychotherapy Network. You all have a handout. And the guy wrote to me, he said, women don't understand man's anger. It's kind of the way we are, and other men aren't as threatened by it. And we kind of get it, you know, and women don't. Well, yes and no. But I think if we're afraid of it, if we back off from our clients, or if we're afraid of them, they will feel like it's not a safe place. So we have to learn how to welcome the anger in a healthy way. The sexual clients say, you look pretty cute. And again, there's different ways to handle this depending what they say. I usually say, thank you. One guy wanted to date me. I said, I'm flattered. I can't do that because the rules of the road, but I appreciate it, and let's talk a little bit about what you're looking for in a woman that would be, where you could take from this session. What is it about me, and how can you take that outside? I always welcome it unless it's incredibly hostile, which I never had. So the arrogant or sexist client, you're just a woman, how can you help me? I find that this is a wonderful opportunity, again, to say, well, you're right, I am a woman, you're a man, and let's talk about how can I help you? And even to ally with, you're right, I don't understand, teach me. And curiosity is really important. When I'm in doubt, and as a clinician, I always say more. Tell me a little more about that. You can never go wrong with that. Tell me a little more. It's the standard go-to response, right? Tell me a little bit more. I'm curious. Because the curiosity is sort of like, tell me more about what it's like, to feel like I can't help you. Just tell me more. Don't go into your credentials. That's not really what they want. I think they want reassurance that they're heard, that you can listen to them, and that you're not going to run away from them. And often underneath that is a sense that no one can help them, that they're unhelpable. And I think that's really important.
About the sexual client.
Yeah.
What if they're not being hostile, but they're completely, they're making you the sexual object, and it's like gross,
Okay.
Where you just walk away feeling like you need a shower.
Okay.
That's that. I don't feel like I want to just say thank you.
Okay, so what would you do? What would be your intervention there?
Well,
What would you do?
I'm kind of asking you, like,
Okay.
how do you deal with that?
What I would do is I would
don't
say,
want to shame them either, but
okay, I would say, you're saying these things, and I'm kind of curious why you're saying them, because is this happening outside of therapy? Are you doing this with, and I would even say, it makes me a little uncomfortable. I'm trying to stay with you here, making me a little uncomfortable, because it feels a little bit kind of outside of what we're supposed to be in here to do, but I'm curious, again, what's going on for you? What's going on for you? How does this show up in your life in general? What is it? Is there something else that's going on in here that I need to know about? I think curiosity keeps the cat alive, actually. And I think often underneath that, men sexualize things because that's how they know to be, and they don't know how to be intimate in a non-sexual way, and that's one thing we're teaching them. So I would welcome that. I think actually the more gross the better, because you know what? If they're doing that, that's one of the reasons why they're in therapy. And you don't have to thank them for sexualizing you, but you could be curious about it. I think that's really important, yeah.
I'm just going to say, the police department, when women were very scarce in the police department, men made a lot of challenging sexual questions, really to put themselves at ease. And so, can I be real around this woman? And sort of, I'm just reinforcing what you said.
Yes. I think a lot of it's just challenging, and I think we cannot rise to the bait. It does not serve us. It does not serve our clients. I think curiosity is really one of the best things you can do, even about things that feel totally inappropriate, is to just say, you can even say I feel uncomfortable. It's okay to say I feel uncomfortable. That's not bad. It's being honest. It's being genuine. But to say, and you're doing something bad, is not where you want to go. Ending therapy. I have to say, I think men end therapy in very different ways than I was trained that people end therapy. I feel like many of my clients don't ever want to end it. They don't want to ever completely end it. They want to set the pace. They want to give them the control about when they end it. They end it in many different ways, and one is by not ending. I have to say, most of my male clients never say, okay, I'm done. They say, basically, they kind of start not canceling. They schedule appointments further and further apart, and then they say something like, I'll get back to you about that. I'll get back to you when I need you. And it doesn't feel, at first it didn't feel right to me. I'm like, well, we need a proper termination, and we need to, fill out the forms. But then I thought, I have more of these guys coming back a year later, 2 years later, 5 years later to say, I need a little booster shot, a refresher course. And I think that I see myself more as a primary care physician that I do some work with them. They do as much as they can do, and sometimes it's 3 sessions, and they think they're done and I don't, but they take the lead. If they think they're done for that time, but I see it as they may come back. And my job is to make myself accessible to them. And so I just say, you think, and if they, they don't ever really terminate, but they end up coming back, and if I'm useful in that way, that's great. So before I get into the clinical stuff, I would just say there's 5 things I'd like you to take away from this talk. One of them is to join Division 51 of APA, especially the women. We need more women in that division. It's a very exciting division, and it's a lot of great colleagues. Do reading in the field of men's studies. I have some references I handed out, very useful to read. Take a class or workshop in the psychology of men or gender studies. Learn some new techniques. I learned EMDR a couple of years ago. Very useful with men. They like it. It's very structured. You got the gadgets. You got the, very formulaic. And of course, I use it judiciously, but they like it because it's very kind of technical and clear. CBT, I use that a lot with men. And again, if you don't like men or are afraid of them, you got to work it out in your own therapy, because that is probably the #1 problem, is if you really don't like men, that's an issue.